when you're a single mom and you're shamed for being pregnant, one of the greatest lessons you learn is you learn to become responsible. You own your situation.
As told by us. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of As Told by Us. So today we have a guest, and I'm very excited about this one, guys, because she's a very close friend. She's almost like a sister to me, so be kind. Her name, as you know, right, here at As Told by Us, we're very much into you create the life that you want, right? Life will happen to you, but you ultimately have control of your life, right? And our guest, who I'm going to introduce now, is really an example of creating your own life on your own terms, okay? I will give you a brief intro into who she is. Her name is Donna Ray-White. She is a dynamic and experienced, smart-driven, and result-oriented professional in the marketing and finance field with a demonstrable hands-on approach. She has worked at the DeVere Group for nearly 12 years, where she currently serves as a senior wealth manager, area manager, and director. She formerly was a brand ambassador for Doltec Beverages and managing director at Donna's Hair Salon. That was her own salon. For over 9 years. A 2018 Mandela Washington Fellow at Northwestern University in the Business and Entrepreneurship track, Donna is also the founder of The Making of a Diamond, a writing platform. She is passionate about financial education and inclusion for women, giving back to the community, and is actively involved in various charity initiatives and youth development trainings. And most importantly, she is a mother of 2. Welcome to the show, Donna.
Thank you for having me.
She is every woman. I love it. Anyway, welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. This was a very long time coming. I feel like I asked you to come 2 years ago, and we've postponed it, and we've postponed it.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years. So thank you finally for showing up. So we will start here. We want to know. So what we want to know is your story.
Okay.
All right.
So it's basically As Told by Donna today.
Okay.
We want to know everything. So we're going to start everything, the whole shebang.
How much time?
The whole shebang. Tell us. Let's even start from childhood. Tell us how you grew up, who raised you, where you grew up.
Okay, so I grew up a mixed race little girl. I was left with my grandmother from age 3 months. So that was my paternal grandmother. So she largely raised me.
When you say left?
Yeah, my mom, well, in my opinion, she left me. She's not here to tell her side of the story and her circumstances that led to, but basically they had some beef, my parents. So they had my sister ages before me. I always think that I was a result of makeup sex. You know, that night you go out, bump into your ex, boom, a child. And then I think my grandmother was like, nah, 2 kids, nah, be serious. So I think she forced them to play house. And my parents were both Capricorns, like me. Mm-hmm. That is not a good match. That is not a good match at all. So it blew up. So my mom went, she stole us to Bulawayo. And then my father came the next day and he was like, where's my children? And my grandmother's like, they're gone. So he called his uncle and he's like, go get my children. So I was delivered back to my grandmother 24 hours after my kidnapping, and that was my home. Yeah, it's a funny story, like my whole life. So I think I largely remember from about 5 years old. So from when I was 5, at that point, I think I was indoctrinated in Christianity. So, you look up at 5 and you're like, God, did you misplace me? Because the common ground, the person I relate to in this family, I'm failing to find. So this was my thought from as young as 5. And so I grew up in an abusive household. So my grandfather was an alcoholic, and he was the worst kind because alcohol didn't improve him. We have lots of friends now and they're better people. My grandfather was the opposite.
Like now running opposite day.
His skin color would change. Yes. And he would get so aggressive. Like every weekend he'd try to kill my grandmother. And so from about 5, every weekend I was in between their fights. And as a result, as a child, I used to have panic attacks. Yeah, so I just had nerves. I was a nervous wreck of a child. But if anyone noticed, I was also violent. It wasn't my fault. I saw it a lot. So I went to a creche like 5 minutes from my house. I lived in a circle. At the end of the circle was the creche. So in my little 5-year-old logic, as the person who lives closest to the creche, I get to creche first. However, there was this little boy who came from Marondera. And his mom would drop him off before me. I didn't like it.
You're like, no.
Every day, when they came to open the creche, they'd find him in a corner crying. It was my fault. It really was my fault. I'd beat him up for being there before me because I was supposed to be first. It made logical sense. We'll go through how I needed therapy at that age at a later stage.
Did he get it after that?
No, like he got his comeback like by grade 2. We went to the same primary school. He was now like, he was cooler than me. Then it got transferred. I probably prayed that. I manifested like Jesus, no competition formed against me or prosper. But yeah, so I was a fearless little girl. I got what I wanted, even though no one cared to provide it for me. I just made it happen. In creche, whenever there was a situation, I was the first person beat up. 80% of the time, I deserved to be beat up first. I was always involved in any mischief. Yeah, any disturbances, that was me. Anyways, I went to government school. I got beat up first day of grade 1.
Because what?
So there were certain classes that had clear windows. So I was walking and pulling tongues. And the woman that caught me doing it was my grade 1 teacher. So she took my, she's like, where are you? Oh, you're with me. Come. She took one, pam. And that's how I started grade 1. So I was a bit of a legend everywhere I went. I think leadership comes with you just have a stamp. Not everyone can see it, but game recognizes game. So those that are leaders, they see it, they admire it, they try and hone you, but then also chaotic backgrounds do affect. Yeah, so I got by primary school violently. By 10, I believe our deputy headmistress, Mr. Headmaster, sat me down and it's like, you will never be a prefect. You're so naughty. You will the only reason we're not expelling you is you're actually clever. Yeah. Anyways, that was his story. I made myself a prefect by grade 7 because I was in the first class and 6 of us weren't prefects. 6. So I wasn't going to sit with 5 people. So I went to the KG department, the grade 1s and 2s. Went to my grade 2 teacher. I was like, I'm him, okay? Look at me now. I'm the leader. And it worked. I became her class form teacher. I don't know. I was an assistant. When she saw me, she smiled. The kids loved me. And that was my leadership role. I then got vindicated in becoming the house captain for my house, at least. Because I was a little bit good at sports. But basically, most of primary school, I had pigtails, I was short, and I was loud and squeaky. But I had a presence. Oh, my word, worse. So, you know how when they change uniforms or they upgrade uniforms? Now, I remember I was raised by my grandmother. So my aunt went to the school and my sister went to school before me. So we had this winter uniform that was supposed to be slacks. But my aunt's version of it was bell bottoms. So I got the nickname 60s. in primary school because of my winter uniform. Yeah. So yeah, they used to call me 60s. Yeah. And then some people used to call me what? A V8. I don't know why they call me a V8 engine. Maybe I need to sit down with the boys and ask them now. But I was moving and shaking from a very little age. Then I get to high school. I remember how all the prefects tried to gang up to block me from joining Interact because, again,
The boys.
No, I went to all girls school. I was at Roosevelt. Yeah, but I had this bad bitch energy from when I was young.
Hey there, lovely listeners. So listen, running a podcast in Zimbabwe is quite the journey. It requires resources. And when I say resources, I mean money, time, and effort. Wondering how you can support us? Well, we've got you covered with Inbucks. Or World Remit if you're on the other side of the world and you'd love to contribute. Our Inbucks number is 077 810-3171. Whether it's the cost of a cup of coffee or a virtual high five, every little bit of your support counts. Remember, supporting our podcast isn't about funding our caffeine addiction, though it is in part, but your support keeps our podcast alive and thriving and helps us create more content, ensuring that our laughter echoes through your devices. Thanks again for being part of our community and for listening.
So I already know not every woman will like me. That is standard, okay? My confidence will offend and intimidate others. My facial looks or there's a lot of options of reasons to hate me. And I allow your hatred for me. It's okay. We need haters. They keep us going.
They do?
They do, yeah. So yeah, I had the whole prefect body trying to block me from Interact. But I serve a mighty God. I came out of they stalled. I was the last person they mentioned to join Interact. And I finally joined Interact. They loved me because I'm efficient and I'm outgoing and I'm outstanding. So you hate me until you know me. Then I think you just love to hate me. After that, you're like,
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's fine.
she really gets to me, but she also really pushes me. You know, if you're friends with me long enough, I'll convince you that nothing is impossible for you. Yeah, that's who I am. Then one day in Form 3. I met a boy. I met a man, actually. And I think by that time, you're so broken and abandoned. It's not even a quality connection you search for. It's literally just a connection. Because years later, I sat down and I was like, Donna, how did you get pregnant as a teenager? One. Question 2, how did you get pregnant as a teenager from that man? You know, those were deep questions I had to ask, and it took years for me to get an answer. So the conclusion was I was severely neglected. Literally, my parents would forget my birthday, and like I said, we're all born in the same month. So on her birthday, expectant Donna would go to the mailbox. Maybe they sent a telegram, a card. I'd sit by the gate the whole day. At best, my dad would send my school fees money and money for stationery and uniforms. Those are my presents growing up. So by 12, I was like, you know what? I'm not waiting around for anyone to acknowledge that I'm important and I deserve to be celebrated. I started saving. I bought myself my own cake. I'd create my own. Yeah, and I've been like that about my birthday since. Yeah. So at 15, I met this guy. I don't think he sweet-talked me. I don't think I was overtly interested in sex at the time. I think I was just desperate to be acknowledged as a person deserving of a relationship or love. Yeah. And so he sold me castles. I bought them. Then I got pregnant. Now when I got pregnant, turns out he had already made another girl pregnant that he had sent to UK. And so while she was there preparing and he was preparing to follow, he was portraying himself as a single man, which I walked into, you know. So now I'm pregnant, and then my confession leads to all these truths. So I'm 15 years old. I'm pregnant, and the baby daddy, he's not trying to be a baby daddy. But also by that time, I've also realized that this isn't a person I actually want even to influence the upbringing of my child. I couldn't say it in that manner then, but now, totally grateful he ran away. You know, like he actually left the 31st of December 2004, and I knew the day I was leaving, and I remember looking up to heaven and saying, God, I have no plan on how I'm going to be a teen mother, but I'm so grateful that he's not there to cloud whatever I need to do here. So yeah, I had depression for 2 days because in my mind I thought my life was over. I was going to be a teen mom. I had no plan. So I had a miniature funeral for my life, and then I was like, okay, how we turn these lemons into lemonade, you know? So I went back to school. I found a college. I enrolled for my O-levels, and I was doing okay. I gave birth. We estimated my labor to be about 24 hours. We're not sure because I wasn't sure what labor was like. The whole time I was waiting for my water to break, it didn't break. So like, I knew something was abnormal because that day I didn't even go to school. I felt, okay, something was different. It was intense pain, I remember, but I soldiered through the day. I was scared to eat because I'd heard horror stories of people defecating on the labor table. So in my perfect Donna was very concerned about that not being a situation. Then, I realized, I thought, let me recheck my hospital bag, because you realize you pack for the baby, forget about yourself, you're not going to be half naked at the hospital. So anyways, repacked everything, and then I just kept going to the bathroom to check for my water to be. I don't know what I expected. I've watched TV, but I kept going to the bathroom to check, Then I remember the worst thing about labor, there was this back pain. It struck at about 8 p.m. It was like my spine was on fire. So you can't sit straight, and you can't. So from like 8 to 10, I'm just uncomfortable trying to find a position.
But you didn't tell anyone you're in pain?
No, everyone knew I wasn't okay, because by then I was staying with my future husband, who's now my ex-husband. Long story. And his mom, listen, this is a movie. We're really trying to compact it, but it's a whole movie. So everyone, but like I've always been able to conceal my vulnerability. So I'll be like, I'm not okay, but I'm okay. Yeah. So I managed to con everyone to go sleep, and I'm fighting there with this pain. Then finally I went to the loo and I saw a few dots of it. I was like, this is something. Surely, because your biggest fear as a 16-year-old is you're going to go to the labor room too early and they're going to tell you it's Braxton Hicks or something. So you're just so afraid of what you don't know. And looking like you're a beginner, which is insane because you're not supposed to know anything. But I was by myself and figuring it out. So, so I was like, this is something. Anyways, try and wake up my ex, snoring. Whereas I go to his mom and I'm like, Mom, yes! I was like, it's time to go. I remember the car drive. Every single crack and when the trees roots like separate the road, every bump in the road was like a volcanic trigger of pain. So from Eastleigh to Baines Avenue, it was a long 10-minute drive. Anyways, I get there.
Wait, sorry. Were you loud about the pain, or you were like just trying to
I'm a G. I'm a soldier. Okay, no one is seeing me crack under this pressure. So I get to the hospital. They offered me a wheelchair. I was like, all right, just a woman. Okay. Anyways, you get in there, and immediately the nurses see your age. So they kind of like, shit, this is a high risk situation, Anyways, so how long are you? When was your date of your due date? So my due date was 14 April. This is 22 March. Yeah. So, okay, they gathered that I was like three weeks early. Anyways, they checked me. I dilated 8 centimeters. That was the best news ever. Because when you're in full-term labor, you dilate to 10 centimeters. And so normally, if you're going to be a C-section candidate, you normally struggle stop from 2 centimeters onwards. So I was like, no, surgery. I will recover. I will have a six-pack one day. My goals were still mixed up. I was 16. Bear with me. Yeah, so the visions and the things that were important to me at the time, totally different. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. The issue was now my water wasn't breaking. So anyways, this one woman, this big nurse comes in and she breaks my water. Guys, I was walking to the toilet for no reason. When your water breaks, you will know. Okay? It's not 5 drops. It's not, it is a shower. Okay? It is like, woo, wow. Okay? Anyways, my water breaks. Instantly, 8, 9, 10 centimeters. Now the nurses all go to get my gynecologist. I'm left with my ex-husband. He's looking scared because he's like, if this girl dies here, please know my ex-husband is not my son's father. Remember that man's in London, yeah. So he's now taken on a pregnant woman, not his child. And so he was like, if anything happens to me. So you could see the fear of Jesus on his face. So at this point, I feel the baby. So labor, basically you contract, you open up, and then the baby pushes. And you're supposed to push with it. So I felt the contraction. 1. And I'm like, there's no one in here but him. If I tell him, he's going to panic. So 2, 3 contractions happen. Then finally, the team walks in. I was like, the baby is trying to come out. Where have you been? So now 2 pushes with the contraction. The baby didn't come out. So the gynecologist, so I told her, like, there were at least 3. So now she's worried. So she checks the baby's heart rate. So it's getting tired. She goes and gets a vacuum. When you're 16, you're not prepared for people to bring large devices in your delicate areas and pull babies out of you. But alas, that's what happened. There was no time to discuss. There was no array of options. It was, listen, your baby could die in you. And I'm like, I don't want that. So she comes, boom. Apparently I tore. Yeah, badly. Yeah, but that happens in labor all the time. Yeah.
Where's the list of reasons?
Don't worry, I got you when you're ready. I'll walk you through it. So anyways, baby comes out. There is the longest second when your baby comes out and you look at it. And so instantly what I did is I counted 10 fingers and toes. Then finally I'm like, okay, 10 fingers, 10 toes crying, it's alive. So at that point, you like breathe. And like when you breathe now, like everything's okay. But at 3 a.m., my son did proceed to turn blue. I do think it was because my sister came and gave him some stretchers, which I didn't agree with. But anyway, so the baby turns blue. So obviously, call the nurses, they take him straight to the nursery. So I get to the nursery, there was this one lady who had just had twins, I think. She was an elderly lady. That's when I learned when your child's in the nursery, don't do zungu. I arrived there as the nurses tore into her. We don't care about your stitches. Don't be lazy. You have 2 kids. Get on top of it. So I was like, okay, here it's a military procedure. So I got there. I was like, so what do I do? So yeah, so my baby was in ICU, high infant care for 3 days. So we go for the 10 days after we've been discharged. So obviously I'm with my notebook. Why did my baby turn blue? That's my only question. Did I get an answer? No. Till today we don't know. He's never had an issue since then. Well, with pertaining to breathing. He's tried to kill himself on a few occasions.
Sorry for that.
No, I mean like he fractured his arm, he got a lucky bean stuck in his ear, he's torn his ACL, he's partially fractured his MCL. Basically, I'm on a first name basis with the Right. The specialist dentist is what? And the bone man.
There's an orthodontist.
Yes, there's an orthodontist and then there's an orthopedist. I'm on first name basis with both of them in Harare. And a plastic surgeon if you need to know. And these are all because of kids' surgeries. In my calculations, what I've spent on doctors' bills in the last 20 years equates to a brand new C-class. The one with the B. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Oh God.
No, you have to understand the cost of these things. Because now when people say, why don't you have more kids? Have you raised some lately? This is not a cheap thing, you know? And I didn't even get counseling before I woke up a mom one day, you know, and everything was happening. So I'm like, yeah, I will take my time to decide if I want to embark on this journey again. Yeah.
And then you did.
No, at that time I was still young, naive, you know. Remember, this man, so in essence, this man got me through the birth of my son. He took me into his family. And so I know how to award loyalty. I think I'm loyal to a fault, I've been told. So because of that, he got himself a wife. At the time when I did initially date him, he wasn't quite my type. But, you know, I compromised and I made it work. I officially got married. I had a daughter with him. And then I realized, no.
That's not it.
It's more than just a house and a baby in a carriage.
Yeah.
I think marriage requires such a solid friendship. It requires huge chemistry. And it also requires mutual commitment. Because there was a time I honestly said, you know what? You're doing this marriage thing by yourself. And I know I didn't have my own house at the time, and it was something to be desired, but it wasn't enough to keep me there. I needed way more than just physical security. I needed to be loved. And remember, I was an abandoned child. So, like, I always tell people, I'm single until I find magic. I'm saving myself for magic. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it's shaped like. But I pray every day that when I see it, I recognize it. And when I see it and recognize it, I pray that I show up in my feminine to receive it and enjoy it. So that's why I'm still single, if anyone asks.
Anyone's looking. So at what point did you get out of the marriage?
I was 23 years old. It was 2 years after I had my daughter. So obviously there's ups and downs. That's a whole, that's the juicy bit for my book. So I was just frustrated. And so I wanted my marriage annulled in 2009 after it happened. And then he was like, no, I'm so sorry, I'll change. If you just give me a baby, you'll have everything you want. So I was like, I've just had a baby. I don't even feel like I've recovered. I didn't want to have another child at the time. But I also understood that marriage was about compromise. So I compromised. I gave him the baby. And it took me 9 months to get pregnant. In those 9 months, he was now like, I can't have children. I fire black. He frustrated me. So anyways, I'm pregnant now. All these stories are circulating. And I was just like, okay, I consciously made the decision to get pregnant. So I'm going to do this wholeheartedly, regardless of the imperfections surrounding the scenario. So I committed to having my baby. I more or less was moving like a single mom from then. You know, I'd go to my doctors, but I'd planned to drive myself to the hospital in labor. Okay, that was how ready I was for this. And as women, we really know how to just get ourselves embodied in whatever we decide to do, to the point where we don't see so many things. We just focus on the task at hand. The task at hand, be a mom, raise the kids, have your baby. That was the task at hand. Everything else, the late nights, the emotional abuse, we can put it aside. So I zeroed in, I had my baby. Once I had my baby, I was sure this marriage wasn't for me because I had enjoyed 9 months. I was sure. So I said, okay, you're vulnerable. You've just had a baby. Let's strategically plan our exit. So from the day I gave birth to the day I left 18 months later, all I was doing was preparing to run away.
Damn.
So you ran or you left?
I ran away.
You kidnapped the babies.
I took my children with me when I ran away. I took absolutely only what was necessary. I even forgot some of my things. You know, but so I had to leave a few months earlier because there was, so obviously there's signs that you want to leave. I moved out of my matrimonial bedroom. I moved into the spirit bedroom. He sent his mom to talk to me and she was like, I hear you want to leave my son. And I was like, yeah, mom, my parents are dead. if you really cared about this marriage, you would have come with your son and we would have talked. Me and you have no problems. We can sing beside each other till the end of the world, but I have to live with him. And if we're not doing things that make me living with him easier, I just didn't want to hear it. So they were, And then the one night, I think I was selling lingerie or something, and I had suitcases in the car. So I think he came home and he saw the suitcases. And so he tried to soft me. Hey, come, what, lies. So only the next day, when I walked out and I saw the reflection of the suitcases in the boot, okay, that's why he was nice to me yesterday.
I thought you were up about it.
Yes. So now, I think I also used to play a lot of, when you're emotionally abused, you tap back. It becomes a very corrosive. The real reason I left my marriage is because I cheated. And when I cheated, it dawned on me that I was making a mockery of marriage, number one. And number two, if this is the only solution where he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, it's the kids that are ultimately going to suffer because they don't have parents. They have two people fighting to prove points to each other or to own each other. So I said, I'm becoming less of who I want to be in trying to hold this together. So in essence, I'm killing myself for this marriage, which doesn't make sense. So I made the decision to leave the marriage so my kids could have at least one present parent. And I think they absolutely have one present parent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you left. At what point did you open the salon?
I'd already opened. I opened the salon when I was 17, as I was writing my A-levels. Okay, so I didn't tell you the most earth-shattering thing that happened to me. So 3 months after I had my son, my dad died. 2 weeks after that, my grandmother died. So my home support was annihilated, and I had a 3-month-old baby. So in that moment, that's when I gave in to this man because I had no other option. That was me entering survival mode. Yeah, so that had a huge impact. But then also I think when you're a single mom and you're shamed for being pregnant, one of the greatest lessons you learn is you learn to become responsible. You own your situation. When you own your situation, you own things more often. When I left my marriage, I knew 50% of its failure was because of me. I will never sit here and point fingers and say he was such a terrible man. He was a broken man. He needed to do his healing. He needs to do probably therapy. But I was no better. And I owned that. And that ownership of circumstances helps you create a better platform to deal with life more honestly. Yeah. I think through it all, I've become more myself. Like I always say, God bless 23-year-old me. I don't know what it took to leave. It took a lot. Most don't get out. But God bless 23-year-old me because she had the balls to leave. At the time, I earned $200. That was my salary.
From where?
I worked for a stimulus. It was a network marketing company. Yeah. And I had 2 kids. I'd never paid a bill before. So I had to become a brand ambassador. I used to do Windhoek, Heineken, Naughty Girl promos. Those promos would pay us $50 a day. So in a weekend, if you do 4, cut 200.
That's your salary.
Food tank, petrol, groceries. The salary was China. It was a mess at the time. God knows. I always tell people, I think I am a walking embodiment of God's grace.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times it doesn't make sense how I came out of it or how I survived it, But I did, There was a time I'd be scared to answer my phone. It was always, you owe us school fee, debt collectors. It was bad for a while. And then, so I had already opened my salon. So I'm running this business through 2008. Yes. I was a money changer. I didn't actually go to 4th Street and stand there, but I used to be like a broker between companies needing money and the banks. I had homies in the banks. They'd do transfers for me. I'd go get the US dollars. I was a little hustler, okay? Like by the time I was 19, that's when I think I made my first $1,000. And those days there were shortages. I remember sending my sister, go get me a 24 pack of Reds from South Africa.
Yeah.
Guys, those days I'd drink half a Reds and that was drinking for me those days. It's changed a lot over the years. But I was bored. I'd be like, Donna, I need a new bag. I need matching shoes. Like, I was living my best life at some point, you know. So I had this business, but this business wasn't making money. And so you get frustrated. Then I worked with my husband's family at the time. They had a butchery. And so, okay, that was helping. And then the burning of money was helping. But I wasn't getting any satisfaction from any of these achievements, you know. And I think it was largely because at the time, my home life was just not, it was not giving me good vibes. So anyways, I made the hard decision. I walked away. I left everything. And I went to stay in Arcadia for 1 year. Yeah, I was trying to find my inner color.
Well, not in Arcadia.
Where else but in the heart of it?
The motherland.
I think in that very year, I got banished from the Arcadia club. One night, my friends and I went and had fun. There was a door that happened to be on the ground. I don't know why there was a random door in the middle of the field, which we proceeded to use as like, you know, a stripper pole. Yeah. So I was 24.
We were young.
We were young, wild, and free. But anyways, it turned out that, my inner colored and I, we weren't so close, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know what? You don't need to define yourself by what you are. It's okay to be a go-getter. It's okay to be different, you know. I accepted that. And it's okay, you know. I'm going to be a little bit organized. I'm going to sound a little bit more refined. I'm going to do wild things, you know, because like now in my family, they've upgraded us from nieces. We're now cousins. So my dad's cousins now call us cousins. Yeah, so my aunts and uncles, we're now peers because of our ambition, my ambition, and just your responsibility. Like game recognizes game. They're like, okay, with us now. Yeah. But generally, my entire family have acknowledged that I've surpassed even some of them.
Fair.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I haven't even touched the beginning of my dreams. I am still so poor and so far from what I want to be. But in that already, I've surpassed many.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that the way I dream is crazy and it's big and it's defiant of who I am, where I come from, what I deserve, and what the world thinks I should get. My dreams are no, I don't care what the status quo is. I don't care what people like me get. I'm Donna Ray-White and I come to get what I want. And that's been my driving force. And that's probably how I survived.
That's how you're still surviving.
No, I'm not surviving. I'm living.
Now you're living.
Now, survival mode was packed up in COVID.
Can I say you're thriving?
Not yet.
So we're just
Maybe if I had a Bentley outside or a GT6, you could say. But I'm certainly not suffering.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, how did Mandela Washington come about?
So, obviously, how I started my blog. So the Maker of the Diamond, I started in 2011. So backstory, how I actually officially got married is my sister and my mom were like, you can't play house. So they read me the right act. And I was like, okay. So technically I was kind of forced into marriage. So when I wanted to leave, I wanted to make this decision from within me. I wanted to be certain. I didn't want to be able to say, you made me do this. So that's when I started writing. And so funny story, I couldn't spell in high school. My history teacher told me my handwriting looked like a barbed wire entanglement. So hope of me being a writer was far-fetched. But then one day I'm on the computer and I started writing and I tapped into wisdom. And it was wisdom deep within me. So I started writing and I was like, yeah. And then you read the writing like, this is a cleverer version of me. Like, we should package this version of Donna and put it out there. But more or less, I just tapped into my wisdom. I think more now I could explain it as I tapped into the spirit self of me. And I reaffirmed my decision-making from within me. That's why I always tell people, when you tell people you're divorced, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, don't be. I am so better for it. Like, I do not hold hate, nothing. I wish everyone happiness. I wish my ex-husband happiness. I wish him joy. I hope he's successful in everything he tries to do. Because I will always be successful anywhere and everywhere I go. And I can't wish for anything else, for anyone else. Yeah. So I started writing. And that's how my blog came about. Even the name, the making of it, that was the Holy Spirit pouring out of me, because I cannot own, the colored girl that went to Admiral Tate Primary. She doesn't come up with the making of a diamond. That was just, So I was tapping into something. I don't think I can fully explain it yet, but definitely that was that empath journey I was trying to tell you about earlier. Like, I've tapped into something that I can't explain. But it's so affirming and it's so natural and it's just amazing. Like, when I connect with another human being, chills on my spine. Like, I think I've never tried hard drugs, but I'm sure how I feel when I connect with a person is that high that I think comes with high, like drugs, because you have this energy, like you feel good. Like, I'm like Razor Ramon in 1994 type of good when I get to connect with people. It's amazing. And that's how I know it's part of my purpose.
Yeah.
So I try now and listen more to the inner conversation and feel how things feel. That's how I get my affirmations. Yeah. So I started this blog in 2011. So the blog changed my life in that, number one, I discovered my own voice. I discovered a talent. I discovered a form of therapy and expression. My blog healed me. There's a lot, like there's some blogs I read, I'm like, whew, I can't relate to who I was then because I was so broken. But I'm so glad I poured my soul out at that time. So with the blog, the big picture, remember I told you how I think big, right? So with the blog, I decided to turn it into a platform for financial education and inclusion for women, which was the proposal I made for Yali, and that's how I got in. So it was basically a concept of turning my blog, my life story, into a place to empower and help women. Yes.
How come I didn't know this?
There's so much. Like, I think, someone said to me, I'm so glad I met you, but I feel that now that I know you, you're like God's way of showing off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of get that. Yeah. Because sometimes when you're multi-talented, you're overwhelmed sometimes, if I do that, I can do well. If I do that, you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was then. So then I was of the mindset, if I tie in my passion, because the big picture plan is when I turn 40, the making of a diamond will become a paperback book, which will launch my motivational speaking career.
Yes, girl.
Yes. And then at some point, I'm going to be a chef in between. Yeah, big dreams. Like, I wish I could clone myself. But life has just been such an adventure for me. Like, every day, just this morning, I was sitting there and I was like, you're a mother to 2 children. That one is a whole adult. It still blows my mind every day. You see it, you live it, it's happening, but it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I think we're mind-blown.
Well, yeah, so the book is going to be awesome. I have 4 years to I joined Hay House. They have teaching you how to write a book. Because again, these are all ideas that I come with and then I search how to, and then I'm not skilled much, I only have 2 O-levels. I do have A-levels. 9 points. I saved it.
How did you get A-levels with 2 O-levels?
So, the beauty of Zimbabwe's corruption system.
You know what? I don't want to get your response. It's fine. It's okay.
So, certain things, I think when you are confident, and also, I'm big on manifesting. I wake up one day and I'm like, I'm going to do my O-levels. knowing full well I'm going to do my A-levels, knowing full well I don't have O-levels. So I walked straight to the Special Study Center. They had a course for people who had flunked their O's, right? So, yes. So it was a 9-month course to do your A's. I went there. I signed up. There was a white lady. She helped me. No one asked me for O-levels at any point. So I didn't give anyone O-levels. But I registered, and also my O-levels was Zemsek, my A-levels with Cambridge. Yes, I also did that. So anyways, I went, did my 9-month course. I passed. The year I wrote my A's is the year I built my business. So actually, funny story, I only got my A-level results whilst writing in 2006. I got them in 2009 because the opportunity to buy the business came up just before I wrote my exams. So I paid my exam registration fee, but I think the last 4 months of school fees I didn't pay. I was diverting it to pay for the business. Yes. So now I had debt collectors. They called me for 3 years straight until the one day I was like, I have your money. I went to deliver the money. I paid the money. And then I got my results and I was like, shucks, I actually had passed. But now I've spent 3 years in hustle mode. There was no time to say, let me try and apply for it. I was like, no, I am a street smart. This is my... Yeah, so my CV starts from A-levels. We don't discuss what we don't have. And that's how I've been a success.
You know what, right? I don't remember when I met you.
It was
I know
2021.
Where? 2021. I know where. I don't remember the year. 2021. That's 2021.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And I remember meeting you. I remember immediately being friends with you. I remember we met.
I remember some chicken wine.
I don't remember if we met on a Saturday or Sunday, but I remember being at your house the next weekend.
Yeah. I told you guys, food lovers to my house.
I remember I was at your house the next weekend. I remember I never left your house since. Because every weekend it was Cabana, it was what? Then it was your house. Or it would be like after work.
Yeah.
On a Friday. I'm going to Donna's house. Right? And she did say she was an empath, so like she really likes to have people over to her house and like connecting and talking. And so a lot of these things obviously I knew already, right? But I feel like I keep learning things about you. Like every time we do have a conversation, I'm like, how come I never knew that? Like I've known you for 5 years now. How come I didn't know that? But then on top of that, what you don't know is in your old house, in your bedroom, was the vision board. Right. I'd never done a vision board before. I started doing one then, because then you explain with the things on her vision board also. She's not crazy when she says she dreams big. The things on her vision board, and also something else that I learned from you. So I've only ever done. Well, I've done 2 vision boards now, but you've had yours for a long time.
Yeah, since 2013. That's when I did my first vision board when I joined DeVere.
See, so she's had it for a long. So my thing was, I'm not going to do a vision board for this year, like for 2025. I'm going to do a vision board for my life.
Yeah.
Right? And then have that. Like, that's been, I've had the same vision board for 3 years. That's just been, because it's a vision board of life. It's not just the
work your way up to something,
of this, you know, and that already changed the way that I approach a lot of things, because now I'm like, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself to get it done this year, but like also I know what
enjoy
the bigger
the journey of getting there too.
I know what the bigger vision is. John and I also both really like purple. So if you see, we'll tag down the making of the diamond, but it's all purple also. And she's not kidding. Like the blog itself is very
purple.
It's very personal.
Oh yeah.
It's very, nobody tells your story the way you tell your story, because nobody's ever that open about like, about this is what I've been through.
And that's why I think there's a lot of disconnect with women and our elders. You know, if we go back to old culture, taifana ugara pamoto, sharing ngano dzedu and empowering each other. And
that's true.
And colonization has taken us so far away from that.
Yeah.
We're now competitors.
Yes.
And my view is if I share my story, maybe someone doesn't have to go through the pain I went through.
Yeah, and also to know that if you do go through pain, it's okay.
You can pick yourself up. Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Exactly.
Like, no, but everyone always thinks like...
Everyone lives their lives absolutely afraid to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And yet if you don't make a mistake, you don't grow, you don't learn, you don't become better. So we have so many people living in fear. I say we have so many robots in the world today. And it's not robots in that they're actual robots. It's the robots that they're confined by their fears and they don't live their lives.
Yeah.
Very true.
Absolutely. I know.
And I think that's the beauty in making mistakes. When you've had to tell your family that you're getting divorced and you're going from being a landlord to a renter. And they look at you and they say, did he beat you? Not yet, but it was getting there. And all I could say is I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't explain verbally emotional abuse to them. So they thought I was batshit. You know, like you had Kanganisa when you were 16, you made it nice to go, and now you're walking out, what, like, girl.
But no one got to accept you. You knew what you wanted.
No, yeah.
And you had to now fight for yourself, right? Because you, like you said, you could have stayed.
So a lot of the times, I've had to just be my biggest supporter. Even if we were walking in darkness and weren't sure, we had to just commit to something and believe in it, even if no one else did. You know, like I always say, I'm fighting for a love that I've never seen firsthand. I think we're going to go into some Drake lyrics, you know. I want to see love. I've never witnessed it close. That's it, you know. Just because I haven't seen it, just because I haven't had it, it doesn't mean I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly chasing things that I might not be able to physically see or understand. And that's why I always pray for the ability to acknowledge it when it does come my way.
Yeah.
You know, like, God, when the right person comes, may my eyes be open. May my heart be soft.
Yeah.
May my feminine energy just fall on me gracefully. And I make it work. That's the real prayer.
I love that.
Yeah.
But then, on top of it, what I want to know actually is your relationship with your kids. Obviously, you had them young, so they are close to age, right? Did you purposely make the conscious decision to befriend your children? You mother them, yes.
Yes.
But especially now as they're older, they really are more friends.
They think they own me. Yesterday, I stepped out for 3 hours for a barbecue, and they were calling me like a cheating wife. And I was like, this is wild. This is wild. So with my kids, I think I probably, in my 20s, I wasn't the greatest mom. I was hurting. I was bleeding. I was present. I did the best I could at the time. I provided. I was present. But I don't think I paid a lot of emotional attention to them. Then I think COVID was phenomenal for me, because I think that's when I snapped out of that survival mode I went into. And I started saying, okay, it's been years. Can we still blame abandonment, daddy issues, mommy issues, divorce? You know, like, when are we owning our position now? And with that, it makes you more intentional. So now, at that point, you're aware, I have 2 different kids. They're totally different. How I approach them, totally different. They're totally different experiences. So then I would say, I need to do a lunch with my son, a lunch with my daughter, and start building the relationship, and then do a family trip. And then, so now I'm so intentional. I try and make time for everyone as best as I can. You can't please everyone. But you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've actually sat with my nephew, I've sat with my son, I've sat with my daughter this month, and we've actually shared something we didn't know with each other. And then when I moved and I lived it, so after 1 year in Arcadia, I did 10 years with my sisters. sharing space. Yeah, two lionesses in one close proximity is not ideal. So then after that, I just moved on my own with just the kids. And their confidence. So I get how pastors' kids sometimes they're wild. Because when your parent is constantly serving, they can neglect. And then you act out. So it dawned on me that yes, you're an empath, you're a great person, and you're sharing a piece of yourself with everyone. But there's two core people that you owe it to. So I then changed. So I think from about 2022, people can say I sort of disappeared from our social scenes. And I went inside. And I was like, the most important thing that I need to build right now is my children. And they had opinions. They both told me that I failed them in life. And I was like, kudos, but here's a true fact. I didn't know what I was doing. And not many parents know what they're doing when they're raising you. But I'm here now and we have time. So let us bridge this gap, which is what we've done. I may not have been there before, but I'm here now. And I'm going to be here regardless. So whether they need me or not, they know I am there. And then the minute I think I have free time and I take 3 hours, they go, hey, you're ours, come back.
Come back.
Yeah.
It's been 3 hours.
So yeah, for the last 3 years or so, I've been purely devoted to my children. My job, my profession, building my team, and healing myself.
Okay, so Donna, we've said a lot.
Yeah.
To close this up, what is the one thing you want people to take away from your story? And what is it that you would go back and tell 5-year-old Donna living with her grandparents about where she is? Now, speak to her as if now you're your age now. You've been through what you've been through. What are you telling her?
Okay, I think the most important thing about the making of a diamond, which is my life story, is that regardless of where you come from, who you are, who your family is, what school you went to, which chicken chased you, you have everything you need within you to be your best version of yourself. Yeah, and the only reason I share my story is to empower someone, maybe help someone not bump their head as hard as I did, or pick up someone who's feeling down and trodden by life and help them understand that if I can make it, so can you. What I would tell 5-year-old me is it doesn't matter that you don't belong and you don't feel like you're in the right place. Just shine where you are.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a nice afternoon.
Okay, guys, we're going to leave it here. We're going to put the making of a diamond in the description below so you can read it. And do you want the peoples to contact you? I don't know. We might tag her, we might not. Who knows? But keep
As long as
watching.
they don't break me. It's taken 36 years to build me. Don't break me in a comment.